All aboard to Austin. The biggest and brightest are headed to Texas. We'll break down the big numbers to watch at Rogue this week on Inside the Leaderboard. What's up, everyone? Tommy Marquez here with a Rogue Invitational preview edition of Inside the Leaderboard, presented by Guaranteed Rate, the official mortgage company of the Noble CrossFit Games. It's been a while, but this weekend it marks the 4th edition of the Rogue Invitational, a competition with a unique mix of athletes that span the entire lifespan of the sport itself. You sprinkle in a little bit of strongman competition, and we have an exciting week of fitness ahead. And here's some Texas-sized numbers to get you ready. First up, we have 14:46, as in 14 minutes and 46 seconds, which was the winning time from Carrie Pierce in the Event 6 chipper from last year's Rogue Invitational. That makes it the longest time domain of any test from last year's event. Now, why is that relevant? Well, for one, looking at average times, most of the workouts last year were in the sub 12-minute range or faster. And it was just revealed that Rogue has a little trick up their sleeve in treating the athletes to a bonus day of competition with an event now scheduled for Thursday, October 27th. We don't know what the event will be, but having a singular event a day prior to the original start could open the door for maybe a significantly longer time domain workout, even off-site. One that could see every athlete touch on maybe the 20 to 30 minute time domain that have been absent the past couple years since 2020 was online, and last year was the first year at a new venue. Given the significant prize purse at stake, the added wrinkle of a longer test on Thursday to kick things off could certainly shake things up. And speaking of shaking things up, Jeff Adler shook up the podium at Rogue last year, which is why our next number is 13. That was the placing of Adler at the 2021 Games, making him the lowest ranked athlete from the Games to turn around and podium at Rogue under this new format. In fact, every year at Rogue there has been an athlete on the podium that wasn't inside the top 10 at the Games as an individual. Now granted, the seasons prior to 2021 were a much different format, but Adler's live performance at Rogue last year proved extremely valuable in his development process, as he was able to turn around and improve his placing at the Games by 8 spots this season. And given the absence of some of the big names at Rogue this year, particularly on the women's side, I wouldn't be shocked if something similar happened this year. In the very least, it's worth opening our scope a little bit to consider athletes that could make this stat happen, like Saxon Panchik, Ariel Lowen, Amanda Barnhart, or any one of the athletes that were at the Games in different divisions. Our final number today is 41, and it serves to pay respect to the legends of our sport that helped build the foundation of the sport as we know it today. The Rogue website lists 17 athletes competing at the Legends Comp this weekend, and they have racked up a total of 41 podium finishes and counting across their careers at the Games. That includes individuals, teams, and masters competition spanning all 16 years of competition at the Games. That's right, the 17 legends you'll see in Austin this weekend have ended up on the podium one way or another in every single CrossFit Games season since it got started. And get this, even if you took Rich Froning's decade-plus long run out of the picture, that stat would still be true. So let's hit depth on that number, shall we? Because even for a sport that's only 16 years old, a significant portion of the fan base wasn't around when most of these legends were expanding the limits of fitness and helping grow the sport to what it is today. So let's take a little history lesson and walk through the first half of the CrossFit Games history as far as podiums are concerned and as they pertain to the legends that are competing this weekend. Starting at the very first CrossFit Games in 2007, CrossFit OG Josh Everett got the podium party started by finishing 3rd that year behind James OPT Fitzgerald and Brett AFT Marshall. The following year, Jason Khalipa came from out of nowhere to snag the gold out from under Everett in the final event. Tanya Wagner finished as the runner-up to Katie Motter-Henniger, and if you haven't seen the movie Every Second Counts that documents it all, I highly recommend it. In 2009, Wagner got her gold, moving up a spot on the podium as the fittest woman on earth, and she was joined by 2 relative unknowns at the time on the men's side. Miko Salo, Tommy Hackerbrook showed up to Aromas and took home the top 2 spots to become instant stars. The following season, the Games moved to Carson in the backyard of Kristen Clever, who took home the title in dominant fashion. Rookie Rich Froning came a few rope climbs shy of the top in second, and Chris Spieler finally nabbed the podium finish that had slipped through his fingers in previous years. In 2011, Froning would win his first title, and he'd be joined on the podium by rookie Josh Bridges. Clever would back up her title with a silver medal performance, and Becca Voigt-Miller would finish third despite battling bouts of vertigo as a result of a car crash shortly before the Games. 2012 would mark Froning's second title, and Matt Chan would finally get his CrossFit Games podium as the second fittest man alive. The following season, Froning and Khalipa would add to their trophy case as the top two men, and Sam Briggs would complete an absolute firecracker of a year as the fittest woman on earth, winning every stage of competition during that season. Finally, in 2014, it would be Froning's last individual title, and just like he had the year prior, Khalipa would join him on the podium in his final individual year, taking third. In the 8 years since, the sport of fitness has changed in a multitude of ways, but it's always important to get a refresher from time to time of the athletes that set the stage for the sport today. Back before there were network TV broadcasts and six-figure sponsor deals, these athletes were throwing down on a dusty ranch in Aromas and chasing fitness for the sake of fitness, and all of us in the community have benefited from it in one way or another. That's going to do it for this edition of Inside the Leaderboard, presented by Guaranteed Rate, the official mortgage company of the Noble CrossFit Games. Be sure to head over to the Rogue website this weekend or the Rogue YouTube channel. They'll be providing a free live stream covering the entirety of the competition. If you haven't already, head on over to the CrossFit Games YouTube channel. Check out the final episodes of Miles to Madison. Episodes 9 through 12 cover the entire span of the CrossFit Games this season, and it is without a doubt some of the best CrossFit Games content that has ever been put out. Trust me on that. Enjoy the competition this weekend out in Austin, and until next time, I'll see you on the leaderboard.